Sunday mornings are a great morning for us. All of us as Christians, we get the opportunity to set our busy, hectic lives aside. And we get to come and we get to spend time with each other with one common bond. And that is, we are Christians and that we love what God did for us and the sacrifices He made. And we want to give thanks for that. So many times what happens to us is we get busy, we forget to give thanks. And at the Last Supper, there was Jesus sitting there with His disciples, and they were trying to convince Him to leave, to flee, because He knew what was going to happen. And you know what He did? He gave thanks. He gave thanks to God for everything He had done. And so many times we forget that regardless of what's going on, we've got to give thanks to God and recognize that Jesus did so much for us.
All here, I want to have like a sort of a family talk before we sort of get into what we're going to talk about today. Because we've got Christmas coming up. And so we were sitting together as a staff a few weeks ago, maybe just last week, I can't remember, time goes by like crazy. And we were sitting and we're like, okay, so what are we going to do for Christmas? And we're like, okay, slow down and say, God, what would you have us to do? So I said, okay, let's take this week and let's pray about it. We looked back at the last 2 weekends where Christmas fell, and we were snowed out the last 2 weekends for Christmas and for New Year's. I'm like, okay. So I guess we have sort of set a precedence, even though we weren't the ones setting the precedence. So then I was like, okay, let me just talk to some other guys, because we're different than like a brick and mortar church. You guys do. And most all of them, who I was talking to some larger ones that have 3 and 4 services, they say, we combine to 1 or 2 services because we know our people just aren't going to be here. So we said, okay, so here's what we're doing at Christmas this year, and I think it will probably, unless God changes something, it'll be what we do continued on from here on out, is whatever weekend Christmas falls on, we won't have service. But here's what we do instead. We do the Christmas Eve service. We do it out at what we call the barn. Hopefully just a great time for the family to get together. The kids are running around having a good time. We're singing songs. We're around the fire. We get to spend time with each other. And then you get to do whatever your family does on Christmas Day.